You're listening to WRHU Radio, here with your host, Gary Duff, on 88.7 FM. We're joined by guitarist Billy Morrison, who launched his Les Paul guitar line earlier this year. He's currently Billy Idol's rhythm guitarist. He also guest appeared on Californication. So, Billy, how are you?
I'm busy. I'm busy. It's good. It's good stuff. I'm doing really well. I'm sitting here in LA. The sun's shining, and it's a pretty good life.
So, what was it like going on tour with Billy Idol?
I spent most of 2010 on the road. We did all of Europe, America, Canada. It was a long tour, and when I was a kid, I was a fan of Generation X. I used to go up into the West End of London and go see Generation X play. I've always been a fan, so it's a pretty good gig for me. Billy's an amazing frontman, one of the true rock stars of this generation, and who doesn't like Rebel Yell and White Wedding? I mean, everyone likes those songs. It's a great gig. It's a really good gig.
Now, rockers always have good memories about going on tour, crazy things that happen on tour. Are there any memories that stick out to you?
The crazy memories are a long time ago. These days, if you're in the business of creating crazy memories, you're not going to last too long. No one wants to deal with the drug-addled, booze-fueled rock machine anymore. I've had my time doing that, back in the 90s. I was touring in England in various bands, and I've seen a TV set or two go out the window. But these days, if you want to be professional, you're not creating crazy stories too much,
Now, what was the process like transitioning into Billy's music?
Oh, it was the easiest process in the world. It's an absolute perfect gig for me. Steve Stevens is still, after 30 years, Billy's lead guitar player. And I'm a rhythm guitar player. What I do best is provide bedrock and tone for a lead guitarist to do their thing. I do that in Camp Freddy with Dave Navarro, and I do it in Billy Idol's band. And I knew all the songs anyway. There was no transition at all. Me and Billy come from the same part of London as well, South London in Bromley. So we hit it off like a house on fire. I've known Steve for years. There was no transition. I just walked in, plugged in, and off we went.
Now, what kind of guitar did you use? Because you do have a new one coming out.
My signature model is now out. It's in the stores now. It took about 3 years to get there, mainly because it has a white headstock, and the process of approval to get anything other than a black headstock, which is Gibson's signature headstock, takes a long time. 99% of the guitars I use on the road are Les Pauls. I have about 8 or 9 Les Pauls that I take with me. But I'm a full-on Gibson guy. I have a 335 that I like to use occasionally. A couple of songs, Eyes Without a Face, I use that on. And then we're going back out in October with Billy for a little while, and all the guitars will be my signature model, obviously.
Now, are there any must-haves when it comes to guitars?
For me personally?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my guitars are split into 2 distinct categories. The ones I play live they're not rare, they're not old, they all have the same pickups in, give or take a couple. And the must-haves are the neck. One of the things on my signature model is the neck of my guitar is a particular profile for me, and the guitars have to feel that way, and they have to weigh a certain weight. Too light, and the guitars sound like can I swear on this? I just did.
You can, don't worry.
And too heavy, and you're giving yourself back problems. So there's a weight thing, and also the pickups that I use are very specific. So there's a lot of must-haves. The guitars that don't go out on the road, anything goes. I mean, I've got a 72 Deluxe that has mini humbuckers in. I've got all kinds of guitars that I use in the studio or I just have in my collection. But the ones on the road, they must be reliable, I guess.
Now, do you prefer the feel of the acoustic guitar over an electric guitar?
No. I like the sound of, I wouldn't say over an electric guitar, but I do like the sound of an acoustic, and I play acoustics a lot. We have acoustics out on the road with Billy for a couple of the songs, but no, I grew up with the Sex Pistols and AC/DC, and bands that have really unique, solid rhythm guitar tones. I like a good power chord.
For somebody that's never played the guitar, what would you recommend for them?
Ask yourself if you want to do it professionally or just for fun. That's the first question, because once you start doing it professionally, your viewpoint on the instrument will change. You know, if you're just doing it for fun, go get a guitar, doesn't matter what it is, and just start listening to your favorite records and working it out. Use your ears, work it out. If you find that it is something that if it's in your blood, you know, I knew I wanted to do this from the age of about 10. So I looked at all the pictures of my favorite guitar players, and they were all playing Les Pauls. So, you know, I made it my mission to get a Gibson Les Paul. And the other thing is, my personal advice is don't rely on pedals. You know, I use pedals, but they're all extra. The tone, the true rock and roll tone, to me, comes from a guitar and an amp. And I've with Camp Freddy, I've been lucky enough to play with some of the greatest players in the world, all of whom can pick up any guitar and any amp, no pedals, and make it sound like them. That's my main advice, is find what sounds right for you.
You're listening to WRHU Radio, here with your host, Gary Duff, on 88.7 FM. We're joined by guitarist Billy Morrison. Now talk to us a little bit about Camp Freddy. Are we going to hear you do some more music soon?
We are always playing live. It'll be our 10th anniversary next year, which is mind-blowing to me, considering we got together for one gig 10 years ago just to have a laugh, and we've been going now longer than a lot of real bands. So live, you know, there's a lot of live shows that we do. It's all over YouTube. You can find it if you look. Recorded material, I have no idea. We've had a couple of songs in movie soundtracks and put out a Christmas single one year. I'm sure if we're all in LA at the same time and someone calls me and says, we've got a studio, let's go make a song, we'll do it. But it's not our primary objective.
Now, we mentioned Californication before. How did you get on that show?
I got asked. It was insane. I love acting, and my plan is to do a lot more of it. And I got a phone call. I was in the middle of the Billy Idol. I can't remember what we were doing. I think it was the U.S. tour. I had to fly out on a red-eye to get to the next gig. I auditioned. I got the part straight away, and went and shot it. You know, and I'm a huge fan of the show. Been watching it since season 1. So it was an honor to do that show.
Who do you want to be on the screen with?
That's a great question.
Would you like to be on screen with somebody like Meryl Streep? Would you do something
Nah,
like that?
I'm under no illusion. I'm not the world's greatest thespian. You know, I'm not trying to be Brad Pitt here. I'm no leading man. I'm covered in tattoos and I'm English. So I want to enjoy the roles that I get. I want to be able to develop roles. I mean, Jason Statham, I would love to do a movie with Jason Statham. You know, he's another Brit, done good over here. I love all his movies. Vinnie Jones as well. My target is those kind of movies, the Guy Ritchies and that kind of stuff.
How would you go about picking a role if somebody handed you a script?
Well, at this stage in my acting career, you take what you're given. I mean, I'm lucky to be given any roles. So, and no one's giving me the role of a 20-year-old leading man here. You know, it's the roles I get offered are gangsters and zombies and junkies. You know, the odd detective I've done, musician. So I'm going to just take those roles. However, I did just get sent a script that is shooting later this year, which was, other than the starring role, open. And I read through it and I looked for a role that I'm looking for a role that will allow me to develop the character and make him my own. Mm-hmm. In terms of maybe some crazy makeup, in terms of scars or semi-naked or whatever. Something interesting that I can make my mark with that role.
Now, speaking of movies, you said on Twitter that you went to see the new Ozzy Osbourne film. What was that like? It's
incredible. I mean, obviously, most people know that family are my friends, and Jack directed it, and I'm super proud of Jack. The movie came out amazingly. he left a couple of scenes with me in it, so I'm actually in it, chatting with Ozzy in the kitchen, and I think it'll blow people away. It's probably the most inside look at any rock star I've ever seen.
What do you think people are going to learn about Ozzy that they wouldn't have if they didn't see the movie?
Oh, it's beyond words. They will learn more than they're expecting. If you can imagine that it's directed by his son, so the depth of the interviews that he conducts and the depth of the footage and the unseen stuff and Ozzy's emotions throughout the movie, it's never been seen before because it's his son. He had the access. So you have to go see it. God Bless Ozzy Osbourne's one of the top 10 rock documentaries of all time.
Now, we also heard that you're heading out to Africa. What is that going to be like?
I have no idea. I've never been there. It's, I'm not particularly looking forward to it, but it's a personal trip. I have to go. So, I don't know. Ask me in a week's time when I'm back. It'd probably just be all about the jet lag. It takes 2.5 days to get there.
Where can we go if we want to find more about you?
It's pretty easy. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, but it's all Billy Morrison. So the official website is www.billymorrison.net. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can go twitter.com/Billy Morrison. Pretty much anything /Billy Morrison will get you there. There's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's, all kinds of stuff, Tumblr. I'm very social media.
Guitarist Billy Morrison, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.